I feel like I'm on a quest to like change the way that yogurt's being produced, because the truth is you can ferment a bunch of amazing, magical, powerful yogurt and you don't have to pasteurize it. People's guts are going to be better. They're going to be healthier. Their immune systems are going to be stronger. I'm on this quest to like change the way that yogurt is being manufactured.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Digestive podcast. On today's episode, we have Noah Simon-Waddell, the owner and founder of the popular vegan yogurt Coconut Cult. And though we do talk a little bit about his yogurt, Noah really opens up about his own health journey and how he personally suffered from gut issues ever since he was a child, and the traumatic experience he had when his lungs collapsed. I was taken back by all his trials and super inspired by how he overcame. It's an amazing story, and I can't wait for you guys to hear. But before we do that, I have a favor to ask. If you can take a moment and hit that pause button and head on over to my podcast home and give it a quick rating and review, that would be so helpful to me as I continue to create and give out this free information. My goal has always been to better one's life and help people thrive in their own health journey by sharing useful information and exposing to the public what they really need to know so they can make the best decision for their own health. So by pausing this episode and giving this a quick rating and review, you are helping me get this podcast into more ears. I truly appreciate all the love and support and always love reading all your reviews. And if you're not already subscribed, be sure to hit that subscribe button as well so you never miss an upcoming episode. If you have tummy trouble or perhaps just ate something that didn't agree with you, we all know the painful effects and how it can ruin your day or even entire week. Speaking from experience, common symptoms from bloating, gas, diarrhea, as well as constipation can occur. What helps balance out gut disturbances is the Coconut Cult Probiotic dairy-free vegan yogurt. Each serving contains 25 billion, that's right, billion probiotic strains, which are listed on the back of their carefully packed glass jars. They small batch ferment 800 billion highly active probiotics into every quart they make. My personal favorite flavor is their chocolate mousse, which is basically like eating a rich, thick chocolate mousse, but it's actually good for you. And as always, it's vegan. No gums, no thickeners, no natural flavorings or preservatives, ever. All you need is a couple tablespoons a day to get the benefits of Coconut Cult's probiotic benefits. So one jar will last you quite a long time. If you want to try any of Coconut Cult's 4 different flavors, go to thecoconutcult.com and use code LITTLESIPPER to receive a discount. Again, that's thecoconutcult.com and use code LITTLESIPPER. With every seasonal change from summer to fall to winter and spring, I always get allergies. On top of seasonal changes, outdoor flowers and grass and indoor dust and dander are always a battle. It got so bad one year, I actually caved and started taking an over-the-counter allergy medication that started giving me nightmares and terrors. And it made me just feel super weird. I don't know, it was just a weird experience. And after reading the back, I realized that was one of the side effects from this medication, and I started looking for alternatives. Back in 2020, I discovered Life Season's Breathe X, which is a supplement containing a blend of natural ingredients that support sinuses and nasal passages, manages healthy tissue in the respiratory tract, and promotes normal immune function. They use plants and vitamins like quercetin, bromelain, citrus biflavonoids, and vitamin C that work together to help manage symptoms and help build the body's defenses. Breathe X usually helps with allergy symptoms and sinus discomfort within 30 minutes of taking it. Many people even see greater results when taking this product over a longer period of time, specifically for 3 to 4 months. So if you or someone you know suffers from allergies and are looking for relief naturally, Life Seasons is offering my listeners a discount on their Breathe X and all their products. Just go to lifeseasons.com and enter code DIGEST at checkout. That's lifeseasons.com and use code DIGEST to receive a discount. Noah, welcome to the show. Can you introduce yourself and just share a little bit about who you are and the reason you created Coconut Cult in the first place? Because I know it's not just a business, but it truly came about because of your own health and digestive struggles. So why don't you share a little bit about that?
Love to. My name is Noah. I created this super probiotic coconut yogurt, and I guess I started the Coconut Cult. It started very much of like a personal health journey where every type of food seemed to be making me sick. So I kept avoiding so many foods and started making all food from scratch by myself, and was not doing dairy and was making my own yogurt at home. And it occurred to me that the make your own yogurt starter bacteria looked exactly like the fancy probiotics that I was seeing in all these pills that people were taking for like specific functionalities, and much more expensive and much more potent. So I decided to make my yogurt with the supplement specialty probiotics instead of the generic, yogurt starter. And immediately I was just like, wow, like I feel the difference. I taste the difference. I'm making essentially what feels like medicine. Like when I eat it, my stomach and my gut feel like they're healing.
And can you share a little bit about, like, rewind a little bit, like what symptoms were you experiencing?
Gosh, it's a difficult one because when I really reflect on it, I think I was sick in a couple different ways for like most of my life. So I think I just had incredibly hard IBS and just a lot of chronic inflammation that it was just from such an early age, and it seemed to go along with eating most things that I just kind of had to ignore it. And then I think I had a lot of inflammation because what happened is like when I was 26, my lungs collapsed when I was playing pickup basketball.
Wow.
And it was really scary. I just started coughing up a bunch of blood, and it was like this intense, like I could feel my whole body shut down.
Oh, I just got chills.
I, was scary. It was in the ambulance, and, a couple of days of being really scared of not knowing what was going on and unable to breathe. And then essentially doctors were like, you have like severe asthma or severe inflammation, not just in your lungs, but like your whole body is just like your inflammation is just off the charts. Like we don't never see this. We think that you have very severe asthma and, your lungs are in such SOS condition that you need to just be on all kinds of steroids multiple times a day, and this is how you were going to heal. So it was kind of like a big, because I didn't know, and like there wasn't any health issue. There wasn't anything that I was dealing with other than like IBS and like a little, asthma and allergies. And then to have doctors be like, there's so much inflammation, like you have the inflammation of a 78-year-old, or like all the types of things that they sometimes tell you, and just to get pumped. So I was convinced, like, okay, I just have to take crazy amounts of steroids, and that will reverse all of this inflammation or, damage or aging that was done. So that happened. I regained like full lung breathing like capacity by taking a bunch of steroids and things. But I also they wanted to hook me on it, or they want to hook, like the mentality is you have to take this steroid for the rest of your life every day, because this is what will prevent your lungs getting really having terrible asthma or ever collapsing. Like, we don't know. So that was like the mantra that I was preaching, is you're going to have to take the steroid every day. But fast forward like 3 years of taking the steroid every day. It's called Symbicort. It was like a very high dose of a Symbicort inhaler. And it made me just kind of lose myself, because it is just, steroids are so imbalancing. So I just had a lot of imbalances in my gut that were exacerbated by taking steroids every day.
Yeah, I mean, that can't be good for your overall health. And I'm sure you've had side effects from that. And just,
I felt so sick that I had terrible overall health, but it also like made my brain go a little nuts. Like, it just created this, every time I would take the steroid, which was every morning when I woke up and every night before I went to bed, it would give me a rush of adrenaline. So I would take it and I would just get a thing. So imagine getting a rush of adrenaline from a drug every night before you go to bed too. And then it did this thing in your brain where it just kind of made you OCD, or like you felt it and you like, so like anxiety producing, that I was like so much more anxious and nervous and having little mild panic attacks all the time, which were things that, weren't natural. That I essentially was like, this steroid is making me feel sick and driving me crazy, and I'm just going to go off it cold turkey. So that was when the moment when I'm like, okay, I'm going to take all the onus for my well-being and my health. Like, I'm going to take it away from these doctors who were screaming like big warning flags of me to stop taking this drug every day that's making me sick. And I was just like, no, I know that this is the right move for me. And I know that like there's some bit of, just doctors not fully understanding what's going on with me happening. And I had to actively be my own caretaker. So it was that moment where I'm like, I'm going to just take over full responsibility and stop doing anything that I think is making me feel sick. Because I feel like everybody, like society, like makes it okay to not feel good and not know why you don't feel good. And it's all up to someone else. Like, it's not on you to figure out what's not making you feel good. You go somewhere else to do that.
Right. Or sometimes people don't realize how bad they actually feel because they don't know the alternative. And once they start to feel better, they're like, wow, I can't believe I was living this way. I didn't know you could feel better.
Yeah. Experienced that too.
And doctors said, that you just had inflammation? They didn't want to dig deeper? Or? They
said that there's like, apparently how it was diagnosed is there's 2 types of asthma. Like the more famous asthma, when you get a bunch of inflammation and your lungs constrict really quickly, and it happens immediate. And that's like primary asthma or something. So then how they explained it was they think that I had secondary asthma, which is asthma where your lungs don't constrict. They just get very, very inflamed. And that I had this asthma for a long time and we never knew it. And then what happens in these cases is you get like a lung will collapse because it's like the lung shutting down from just too much inflammation. And it's like a much slower process than like the asthma, which most people fear, of like lungs closing down and not being able to breathe. And over time, this was what made my lung collapse.
Wow, Noah, what an experience. And so you went off cold turkey, and what did you do from there? How did you heal from that?
So from there, I just was like, okay, I have to start paying attention, because before I feel like I was so disconnected from my body and not really paying attention to, am I eating this? Does this make me feel sick? Am I playing basketball when I'm coughing? Is this, like I was just a total disconnect of like how to take care and how to, be healthy. So the first thing I really noticed was I felt sick after I ate food most times. Like the majority of times I would eat and then feel a little bit like unhealthy. So, in that time, I'm like, okay, it must be what I'm eating that's making me unhealthy. And I just started digging in and like, reading all the information that was out at that point in time about things that people were eating. And, if you avoid them, you'd be healthier. So that's when I cut out dairy, bread, carbs, obviously kind of did gluten too. And I think the thing that I did, what really saved me, is I really started making all my own food. Because I switched basically from processed most things to processed almost nothing. And that I just felt way better. And that got me into food in a new way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully everyone does know this, but I mean, when you do make your own food, the nutrients, everything is so much more alive than something that's been sitting on a shelf for so long. And it may be the same, calorie for calorie or carb for carb or whatever, but the nutrients and the vibrancy of the food is just so much better when it's just made fresh. So your Coconut Cult, it's vegan. Are you vegan, or do you eat fish or eggs, or what do you?
I am not vegan. It's a tough one. I was vegan on and off a little bit. I think I definitely eat eggs, and I eat some dairy now, and I eat fish. Wow. And occasionally I'll eat some bone broth or a piece of meat if I feel like my body really needs it. I think mostly I eat my new diet has me feeling really well, which is it's a lot of eggs. A lot of vegans struggle with the protein thing, and I think that it's tough. I mean, I really also was kind of into being an ethical vegan because I feel like animals are so special, and I've always really just felt very connected to the natural world. And
yeah, totally. Well, and when you're choosing the right types of protein, when things are ethically sourced, they're well treated, they're not being abused, and you really do have to listen to your body, and I think that's a huge testimony to your own health of how much you've healed to be able to incorporate those foods.
You have a similar journey, right? Like takes like years on years on years of like struggling and getting frustrated and being confused till you're like, wow, I'm healing to a point where I didn't even know if it was possible.
Totally. And I mean, I know you and I do have like a similar experience where things you're eating today, there's no way you would have been eating that when you were sick. You know what I mean? And I'm like, wow, like I can consume this. I'm not really having tons of issues right now. I'm sure like I'll get flare-ups every here and there, but I'm probably should be a little bit more paying attention to what I'm eating. But, You know what to do, your body, and that's night and day. Learning how to listen to your body, because it really opens up a bunch of doors on like how to be healthy and how to be flexible. Totally.
How not to be anxious all the time. It's that thing you hear people when they're like trying to get healthy. It comes with all that anxiety of like, am I doing it right? What should I do? I don't know what to do. And the thing that I think a lot of them don't realize is you have to go through that. Like that phase of getting healthy is dealing with not knowing what to do and not having the answers and doing things and feeling sicker and getting frustrated and making mistakes, because that process is the process of learning how to communicate with your own body. Like you have to like fumble through it, and it's uncomfortable, but then you learn your body a little bit, and it's so powerful because you then know how to take care of it.
I love that. And I love that you're doing so much better now, obviously. Let me kind of like switch gears a little bit. So you're doing healthy, you're doing well, obviously. Now, what is your take or what is your view on the vegan food industry? How do you feel about them trying to make quote unquote healthier options for those wanting to consume, less animal products? Like, do you think they're doing a good job, or do you feel like most of the things are, from chemicals and are misleading to the public?
Yeah. So let me first say that I'm really grateful that I think a couple people are really trying to do it right. There's like these cool kelp burgers. There's like the almost veggies, which are like all, veggies and beans and stuff. There's a few companies that I think like don't have any crap. That's all 100% real food. I think my thing is like fake food, if it's made in a lab, is like the way that they've been, whoever designed all of the fake food, like needs to be fired. Yeah. They just missed the boat, like, because it's such an important thing of like, how are we going to feed the world? They just basically bought into, I think the root of the issue is the food industry, the food producers, all of it is so confused because they've all bought into these major notions that they can process the heck out of food and it's still going to be healthy and good for you. Like the whole seed oil stuff is like the perfect like example that they all buy, and that's like the number one ingredient in so many of these misguided plant things. Yeah. They bought into this idea that seed oils are natural food, even though you have to cook them in 3 different chemicals in order to create them. The food industry is confused. I think that so many of the foods are based in this artificial, weird food product that's not really a food and is somewhat toxic because of all the weird exposure to like things that are not good for things.
I saw on your Instagram the seed oil thing and I loved it. And it was like, it was sharing about how seed oils are actually made. And a lot of people just don't know. When something is taken out of its natural form and like manipulated, it's not really natural anymore, Yeah,
it's a whole different thing. And to think that there's no difference because of some tests you run on it, you're like, oh, it looks chemically the same, is like pretty naive. The food industry is sort of broken because they're mostly interested in how do I do this cheaper, in every possible way. That just means they're always going to mess around with ingredients that are more and more processed. And the ugly truth about processing is it usually involves cooking food in chemicals, as we're finding out. Food is the most important thing. It's what's creating your body as you age, and
it's the foundation. It's what's feeding your gut. And we all know gut health is so important. It's like our second brain, right? And for you to not back down, because obviously you've had your own health experience and health struggles, and that's really what drives you, I see. And to not degrade your own product. I even know your yogurt is in glass jars. What kind of company is using that, and putting their stuff in glass jars and just so particular about just the packaging, not only, obviously the contents, but just everything. And I love that about you.
Thanks, Bethany. It's really important to me that our yogurt be really alive, like it's really, because that's the magic of yogurt, is that it's like an alive food that has all this like active bacteria that's like growing in the jar and like multiplying, in the jar as it sits in your fridge. So I've always been wanting to do glass because that's how I fermented yogurt. So I was fermenting yogurt in these glass jars. So I was good at getting it to last a long time. Our yogurt lasts like 120 days or something by keeping it in these glass jars.
That was a question I actually didn't want to ask, like how long does it stay good for? Because if it's fermented, sometimes is The older, the better. Obviously, if you're seeing mold, you don't want to eat it. But like, can you explain?
Basically, like I've had yogurts that I think are like over 18 months old and they've been fantastic.
Wow.
Like most yogurts last much longer than I'm putting on the jar because every fermentation is different. Like, let me just say, so most yogurt in the grocery store, basically almost all plant-based and dairy yogurts are fermented and then they're pasteurized.
Yes.
They're all cooked. All the yogurt in the grocery store has been fermented and then cooked.
Yeah.
And then some of the companies sprinkle in some bacteria powder and then put it in the fridge. And some don't do that at all. So that's how all the yogurt, except for like, me and I think GT's doesn't do this too. Because the old food industry thinking was making dairy yogurt and any animal product or whatever has to be, cooked, pasteurized, no bacteria at all. So all yogurt in all yogurt factories is fermented, usually in big tanks, and then cooked at a crazy high temperature to kill all the bacteria. And then it goes through a bottling, canning, jarring process, which is nuts. So I don't want to do that because the magic of the yogurt is this really amazing bacteria that you fermented into it. It's why our jars would sometimes explode. It was just like, that's why the yogurt is medicine. That's like the real alive bacteria that's like strong enough to survive all your stomach acids and like colonize your gut where, you really need a bunch of really strong probiotics fending off any bad foods you're eating or any germs, or that's their job. That's why they're so beneficial. But if they're dead, they don't do that. So all these people eating these yogurts, the yogurt has no probiotics at all, really. You're just some powder and it's just going to get killed in your gut by your stomach acid.
You may have seen Wild Friends nut butter on Shark Tank years ago when they struck a deal with Barbara. Since then, their nut butter line has exploded into a booming business. Why? Simply because their nut butters are amazing. They have a wide range of different nut and seed butters made with simple, friendly ingredients, free from soy, gluten, dairy, natural flavors, or additives. Plus, they're non-GMO and certified palm oil free. My personal favorite is their classic creamy almond butter made from just roasted almonds and sea salt. Nothing else. And the texture is velvety smooth that you can literally drizzle over any smoothie, sliced apple, or even just enjoy by the spoon. I even enjoy pairing it with carrots. I know it sounds weird, but carrots and almond butter, you have to try it. Wild Friends was founded by Keely and Erica, two best friends who love nut butter. When you shop with Wild Friends, you're not only supporting a small female-run business, you're also supporting the Wild Friends Give Back mission. 1% of all sales are donated to organizations that help ensure women and girls have the environment and empowerment to make their dreams a reality. If you want to support and experience this luscious, creamy nut butter yourself, head on over to wildfriendsfoods.com. That's wildfriendsfoods.com. Well, and a lot of people don't realize that it's pasteurized and then it's cooked. Now, there are a few dairy yogurts too that I consume that I know they're also
aren't pasteurized.
They're cultured after pasteurization, which is, so some dairy ones, at least the ones that I get are, but unless it says it on the tub, right? So it's very few and far between, that companies even mention that, because otherwise, like you said, it's just crazy. And not to mention the whole probiotic thing, but then I know a lot of vegan yogurts, they're adding gums and stabilizers to make it thick. And that's just another, at least personal pet peeve.
So many of them, not only are they using these things, but they're like using a lot. Like they're not even like, when I make coconut yogurt, it's all coconut meat and coconut water, just blended up. It's like a smoothie.
Yeah.
But most of these other coconut yogurts are like made with powders and water that they try to like set. And that's how it's like really low in calories and really light is it's, water and powder and a little bit of, plant-based milk whipped. I don't know, maybe I feel bad. Like now I feel like I'm giving everybody the inside scoop here, but I don't want to seem like a sleazeball.
You're basically just saying what the truth is and what's out there. And I've been personally, I've done that too, in my Instagram stories. And I'm just like, look, I'm not giving you any new information. So Noah, you're not really saying any new information. People can look and just look at the ingredients and see what it's made from. It's on there.
There are other people that make other good yogurts out there. I would like shout out GT, who's probably my number one competitor because his yogurt is good. And he also says on his label that he doesn't cook it after it's been fermented. And that's amazing. That's what I want yogurt to be.
Yeah.
I fully endorse his yogurt. I think my yogurt is better, but I eat his yogurt too. But I just feel like I'm on a quest. I feel like I'm on a quest to like change the way that yogurt's being produced because the truth is you can ferment a bunch of amazing, magical, powerful yogurt and you don't have to pasteurize it. And you can be feeding that to the country. And that's going to make there's going to be health benefits there. People's guts are going to be better. They're going to be healthier. Their immune systems are going to be stronger because they're eating this type of probiotic, which they likely aren't eating if they're just eating dead yogurt. And I just am on this quest to like change the way that yogurt is being manufactured.
And you're doing such a good job at that, Noah. And that's another thing that I love about you is, and I mean, I follow you on Instagram and I always see you are always supporting other companies. You know what I mean? You're truly a huge advocate of, hey, if it's healthy, I want to support it. It's not just you. So, you're doing a great job. So it must feel so great to read testimonies though of people that have been taking your yogurts and just, it must be so fulfilling and rewarding.
It's like maybe the best feeling. I'm not like getting inundated, but you'll get like people will reach out to you and they'll be like, your yogurt like saved me. I'm just kind of like, I get it because the yogurt saved me too, but it's just a mind-blowing thing to like get that feedback of like, this changed my whole stomach health. I can now, eat things that I could never eat before, or I can poop regularly, or like I hear so many of the accounts of like eating this yogurt every day has totally changed part of my life, or like what I'm able to do, or how I feel, or how my body behaves. So it's like that's the best feeling to know that I got a product out there that's that powerful.
And I know that you are doing this from a personal level, and as a business, obviously everyone has to be profitable. Otherwise it ceased to exist, but you really have a passion for it and it shows. When you did start the business, what kind of sacrifices did you have to make, or did your family make? Because I know it takes a lot of money to, start something and put it to the market.
My sacrifice, I think, was maybe a little different than the usual. I think I had a very supportive mother who was able to be like this, was just really supportive from day one. Not only in like, Mom, can I borrow $10,000 to like try to start a business, but also in like, Mom, I need someone to do this. I need somebody to do this. She was just always there to, do whatever I felt like, I could use her help on. And I think also, so were a lot of my friends. So like when the things started because I was making it for myself, and then I started passing it out to my friends and family. And they're like, wow, my stomach feels better. So I had all these people just organically interested in a thing that I was just making for myself on my health journey. And a lot of the energy to let's have a business, make this into a business came from other people, came from them. So it was like a collective kind of thing. And I basically kind of leaned into a lot of my friends. So I kind of took my whole network of family and friends, and I just kind of jumped into creating a business idea with all of them being a part of it. So it sort of became, it just consumed my whole life, like very quickly, that everybody was like part of this thing, which was really cool. But, definitely totally changed a lot of friendships and relationships and family relationships, and everything kind of got swept on this adventure. And it was amazing. And my mom was super supportive, and I was able to make it profitable pretty quickly. Not super profitable, but I was able to people were paying $35 for these yogurts.
Yeah.
And still are. And it's, they're really worth it because they're so different than the yogurt. This yogurt is medicine, but it allowed me to grow a business.
Yeah. And to that point too, a lot of people may think, wow, this is like really expensive for this jar of coconut, but you only need a couple tablespoons to get the benefits. So you're not eating the jar of yogurt in one sitting,
Do like two spoonfuls a day and just think of it as like, this is medicine. This is like way better than the probiotic pill I could be swallowing. This is, it's medicinal in so many cool ways that I don't want to talk about like on the label, because you don't want to like make health claims about like it's something just a yogurt, but you can just put it on your tongue or like have it in your mouth, and it's good bacteria. And I feel it like helps ward off bad bacteria that's maybe in my throat from like being exposed to some germs or, being in a crowded public place.
Yeah, I felt it even tingle on my tongue before. Not every time. I think it depends on the flavor. I think the original was maybe the most tingly. I remember long ago you were just shipping direct to consumer, and you still do, but you got into stores, and I bet getting into Whole Foods was huge for you guys.
Getting into Whole Foods was huge. They're our number one store. And yeah, we really had a business where we sold a lot of yogurt online, and Whole Foods then had to sell much more yogurt in stores.
All this came about from your own health struggle. And I think it's such an encouragement to those that are currently struggling with their health to be like, hey, like not only could I still overcome whatever my battle is, but I can thrive and I can like overcome, maybe they can make a business of whatever they're, you know what I mean? Like it's such a great inspiration in your story.
Well, thanks. I feel really grateful and blessed that I get to do something that's so meaningful to me. It's a tough thing to find.
Where can we find Coconut Cult? I know we mentioned Whole Foods, but where else? Coconut
Cult is in most Whole Foods, but it's maybe in like 2/3 of them. So there's a lot of Whole Foods that don't have it. It's in all the fresh markets. It's in most natural grocers. It is going to be in all Sprouts in a few months.
What? Oh, spoiler alert. Okay.
And I got a super cool, we may have a super amazing special surprise product that's going to appear at Sprouts too, that you've never seen before, and everyone's going to freak out. It's in a few months.
Yeah, I'll definitely be on the lookout for that. So everyone listening, be on the lookout. Oh man, I'm so excited. So can you share anything or like any new flavors to come, or is this like top secret?
New flavors to come. There is going to be a really cool second functional flavor with 4-sigmatic coming real soon.
All right, guys, be on the lookout. Yeah, Coconut Cult, they're always releasing like limited flavors. So I know you guys have your core flavors, but it's always fun to get kind of like a special edition, something to mix it up.
There's the original, highly recommend the original. There's no sugar. It's just plain coconut fermented, and it's kind of whippy. It's delicious and sour and very functional. Then there's the chocolate mousse, which is like fermented dessert.
That's my favorite.
So that's like a lot of people's favorite. That might be our number one selling product because it just tastes like it shouldn't be healthy. And it does have a fair amount of sugar in it, but it's super alive yogurt, so it's also very healthy.
All right. So then, what social channels are you on so people can find you?
So I'm on Instagram and I'm on TikTok now. TikTok is the new one. We're gonna go for it. We're gonna get into because I feel like that's where the relevant video stuff is happening these days.
Yeah, I got to find you on there. Okay. And then obviously the coconutcult.com, you still ship to consumer. It's thecoconutcult.com.
Yeah. www.thecoconutcult.com and order it online. It's like costs between $80 and $100 to ship a box of yogurts to you. But don't think of it as just normal yogurt. It's a daily probiotic. Like it's a very special food that you eat a couple of delicious spoonfuls by itself with some berries, on some fruit, on some granola, on some toast. Yeah. After your meal, first thing in the morning, and it makes you feel great because it's a great probiotic is what it is.
I love it. We all have a story to tell, and I appreciate you sharing yours. So thanks again, Noah. If you want to try the Coconut Cult for yourself, they've given me a special discount. You can go to thecoconutcult.com and enter code LILSIPPER, LILSIPPER, for a discount, and it will ship right to your door. Thanks for listening to this episode of Digest This. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review in your podcast app to let us know. If you're ever wondering how you can support me and this podcast, sharing it with your friends and family is the best way. This is a Resonant Media production produced by Drake Peterson and edited by Chris McCone. To email the show, message us at digestthispod@gmail.com. See you next time. The content of this show is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not a substitute for individual medical and mental health advice and does not constitute a provider-patient relationship. As always, talk to your doctor or health team first.